Hello, fellow book lovers. Welcome back to my channel, Tim Booker. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, so you won't miss any of our exciting literary adventures. Today, I am thrilled to share with you my latest book review of Into the Bright Sunshine, a gripping tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat. So, without further ado, let's dive right into the world of family secrets and unravel the mysteries together. Before he was a punchline, he fought for civil rights. By the end, Hubert Humphrey was a bit pathetic. In 1968, as the vice president and the Democratic nominee for president, he looked like Lyndon B. Johnson's puppet, bullied into supporting the failing policy of the Vietnam War. He was corny, blubbery, with tears and goofy with grins, blithely proclaiming a politics of joy in a time of protests and riots and assassinations. By the time he died a decade later, Humphrey was a relic of the recent past, the embodiment of an exhausted liberalism. Hunter S. Thompson had described him as a gutless old ward heeler who campaigned like a rat in heat. But at the beginning, Humphrey vaulted into national prominence at the 1948 Democratic National Convention, where he delivered a powerful speech advocating a robust civil rights plank for the party's platform. The time has arrived in America for the Democratic Party to get out of the shadow of states' rights and to walk forthrightly into the bright sunshine of human rights, he insisted. His argument, saturated with righteous morality, swayed enough delegates to win a majority. At that moment, he was still the mayor of Minneapolis, campaigning for the Senate. But young Humphrey was the beacon of a movement for genuine democracy. Samuel G. Friedman, over the course of his appealing new narrative history, Into the Bright Sunshine, builds up to the climactic DNC speech of 1948. In what serves as both its value and its limitation. The book ends at Humphrey's national beginning. Friedman offers an intimate and fine-grained depiction of Humphrey's early life and fledgling political career, as well as a revealing portrait of Minneapolis, a city of both gut-wrenching racism and creative civil rights initiatives. It begins, however, in tiny Duland, South Dakota, in an era of deep rural poverty. In the 1920s, Humphrey's parents sold their house to pay off debts. In the early 1930s, after moving to the larger town of Huron, the family encountered the devastation of the Dust Bowl. Hubert left his first stint as a student at the University of Minnesota to work as a pharmacist in the family drugstore. He slept in the basement, mining an archival trove of personal letters. Friedman renders Humphrey as a torn young man. On one hand, he was a loyal son who took time off from work only to lead a Boy Scout troop. He held his wedding at 8 a.m. on a weekday so that the drugstore could open during peak business hours. But he yearned to finish his education, to apply his prodigious intelligence, to run for office, to make government serve the people, to be somebody. Friedman adeptly documents Humphrey's gradual education about racial discrimination. In graduate school at Louisiana State University, Humphrey witnessed the depredations of Jim Crow and had a Jewish mentor who had fled Nazi Germany. Into the Bright Sunshine weaves in the stories of two of Humphrey's allies, one black and one Jewish, who infused the liberal movement of the 1940s with anti-racist politics. Cecil Newman, editor of the Minneapolis Spokesman, decried the police violence, residential segregation, and job discrimination faced by the black community. Samuel Shiner led the Jewish Anti-Defamation Council of Minnesota, battling fascist elements within the city. There were people from throughout his life who recognized something in him. Skills, yes, but something larger, a kind of destiny, more than he recognized it in himself. Friedman writes. He was there vessel and their voice, the vessel in which to pour their passion for a more just America. And the voice to amplify that passion. Insistently enough to affect a nation whose soul was very much at stake. When Humphrey won the mayor's office in 1945, he bucked tradition by promising to battle discrimination against racial and religious minorities. Despite entrenched resistance and even an assassination attempt, the robust young leader created a Human Relations Council and passed a fair employment law. He helped to change the reputation of Minneapolis from bigoted to enlightened. In 1948, when Humphrey ran for senator, he sought the liberal center of the Democratic Party. But that center was crumbling. President Harry S. Truman, who had ascended to the office after Franklin D. Roosevelt died, was seeking election, but the issue of civil rights threatened to fracture the party. Henry Wallace, candidate of the Independent Progressive Party, put forth a broad human rights agenda. Meanwhile, conservative Southerners brayed at Truman's gestures toward the black electorate. At the convention, Humphrey worried that he was tanking his career, but through all the backroom negotiations and floor fights, he kept lobbying for the civil rights plank, capped by his remarkable speech. As Friedman demonstrates, Humphrey's personal experiences informed this rhetorical and political triumph. In that sense, Into the Bright Sunshine tells a compelling story. Friedman treats the aftermath in a more perfunctory way. He briskly covers how Southern delegates walked out of the convention, which resulted in Strom Thurmond's third-party candidacy as a Dixiecrat and Truman's improbable victory in the general election, which depended in part on the support of black voters. As a senator and vice president, Humphrey bore a standard for liberalism, including the civil rights legislation of the 1960s. That crumbled Jim Crow. A massive realignment of American politics took place as the Democratic Party lost the South and became more uniformly liberal. Into the Bright Sunshine suggests that Humphrey's 1948 speech instigated these historical processes. But it cannot entirely prove these assertions. That would take a sequel. And that's a wrap for today's book review. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more captivating novels with me, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Tim Booker for more fantastic literary content. Remember, every like and comment means the world to me and helps this community grow. Stay curious, keep reading, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy reading, and until then, take care. Goodbye, bookworms, books bug sparkles.